Hello and welcome to Brinker Family Farm. Today we're going to see how the garden is growing. I'm going to show you our in-ground, our container, and our hoop house gardening for this year. This is part of our front bed garden. I have some volunteer tomatoes and this lovely spearmint. You can see a few more of the tomatoes coming up over here. I decided to leave them and just been enjoying them. We have two plots that are just for flowers, so it's right here where we see a lot of this blue. Currently there's a lot of forget-me-nots in this section. I have it lined with some really pretty lilies. I also have planted gladolias and some zinnias. There's a lot of other things, but this is just mostly for the pollinators. So you'll see there is honeybees and bumblebees that are really enjoying these blue flowers, these forget-me-nots. This bed right now has a lot of daisies and African daisies, and there is also some Queen Anne's lace blooming. My coreopsis is pretty well done. I am going to come through and cut it because they will continue to bloom. I do want things to go to seed, but I'm not ready for the coreopsis to be done yet. I'd like to get another bloom out of it. Black-eyed Susans are in this mix. There's just lots of really pretty flowers. We're just kind of letting this do its thing so that we can continue to have lots of flowers for the pollinators and for our enjoyment. So the next section I'm going to take you to is our fruit trees. Currently we have two pairs that were here when we got the property, two pairs that we added, and two fig trees. They're just right here on the edge of our garden. These are the two new pairs in the front, two pairs from when we got the property, and then down in the back you can see a little bit is two more fig trees. I had Bo's dad clean out the edge of the tree line, so now we've got to clean up. There was some trash from the people that had it before us, and we just want to clean that tree line up a little bit, just to kind of make things a little bit prettier. So over the weekend, Bo helped me and we got a lot of work done in the garden. It was really weedy, and so now it's going to come through. We're going to get it mulched before the weeds take over. I'd really like to get to the point where most of the garden has a mulching down. It's just one of the things that kind of takes time, little bit by little bit. We'll eventually get it. Until then, we're just kind of going to try to spend the rest of the summer months and into fall just keeping up with the weeds because it was out of control and we don't want to go there again. So right here was supposed to be 2 rows of beans. My beans are a little bit old and we had a dry spell of like 3 weeks of no rain, and then the weeds came on. So they did not do well. I have new seeds, brand new. I'm gonna get them going and try to do a fall bean planting. Some of these beans are doing well, just not the bumper crop I usually get. This year I planted gladolias along here. They're coming along nice, and these I believe were called like a Christmas bean. They're actually doing really well. These are a purple pool bean that volunteers every year, and they just have the really dainty, cute little flowering on them, and they'll have purple pods that once we cook them will turn green. Behind me is a whole section of potatoes and a beautiful row of sunflowers. I cannot wait for them to bloom. There's a whole section of corn plus room that I'm going to do a second planting of here in the next day or two. Out on the back of the garden is also raspberries that we got this year. Here is like a front view of the potatoes that goes straight into our corn, and along the line you can see where the raspberries are. Here in front of the corn is some rows of tomatoes. I've got a few more cages to put on there, and there's also part about halfway through this bed is Aliana's section of the garden, so she's got a few fancy corn and some flowers. She also has some flowers that are the mini type and some beans as well. Now we're heading into the next spot, which is gonna be our pumpkin area. So we've got lots of pumpkins, and the weeds are already starting to come back through, so I've been starting to pull the weeds, you can see where the rest of our raspberries are ending. And then once we come up here to the front of our pumpkin patch, you're going to see our 2 rows of garlic that I just pulled 4 of the bulbs, and I think they're ready. I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling them. So that takes us through the whole back of our garden, which is 3 spots. And it's starting to look really good. I'm really excited for all the pumpkins to start spreading out everywhere. Across from our garlic and pumpkin patch is our front bed. Now, as you see, I have a tarp over it, and there's a lot of thistles I've been dealing with, and I'm trying to choke them out. I have 2 rows mostly of tomatoes. There is some peppers and basil in between that. Then there's 2 short rows of carrots, followed by 3 short rows and 1 long row that I'm still working on. That's gonna be my fall carrots and beets. After that, we come here and I put this cardboard down. I'm getting ready to put some wood chips that we've gotten down in between the rows, but this is my cucumber section. I'm so excited. I love cucumbers. They're my favorite. I'm putting the cardboard down before the wood chips to kind of help with the weed pressure. I noticed there's a few spots that like clover have kind of creeped over my spots from last year, so I'm gonna have to redo those spots, but it does help a lot having that cardboard layer down before I do the mulching. So I got some cabbages. The bugs have been eating it. I'm gonna have to do a fall planting of that, and my onions are looking really good. I'm excited for them. Side is my okra. I like to eat it raw and I like to freeze it. Then this big open space is supposed to be my watermelon patch. There is a few little bit of watermelons. I'm probably going to have to reseed it. These on the end are some volunteer squashes from last year. It'll be interesting to see which kind they are. They are blooming, so we'll be knowing real soon what kind. Then we get into Eliza and Amelia's section. This is Eliza. She's got some corn and beans. She's got flowers. There's a volunteer sunflower growing that's real tall. And then we head over halfway through this 2 rows is Amelia's section. She also has beans and carrots and flowers too. She has a few open spots. I'm probably going to stick some really pretty fall sunflowers in that section. This will be 2 persimmon trees from my parents that we need to get planted, and then there's a mix of oregano, just some marigolds, and sweet potato vines that are my favorite. And then this is also oregano, basil, and calendula. Look how pretty yellow that is. I need to snip those off. I love the calendula to make salve, and so this yellow one is just kind of growing over here real pretty and will add a nice shade to the salves when they're infused in oil. And then the same is over here as the other side. I did just throw in some dahlia tubers, so we'll see if they do anything. So behind me is our hoop house. I'll put a video link below so you can see when we went and got it. We picked it up last year, got it finished, putting it together this year, and right now it is full of tomatoes. There's a few peppers and basil as well in our brooder box for our last batch of meat chickens are in here. They're getting ready to come out this weekend, and then I'm gonna get that all cleaned up. So it's not spick and span clean as I'd like it to be, but it's real life and that's where we are. So I just thought I'd show you anyhow and explain what I'm doing in there. We have a new lock to put on here. Right here is some tomatillo plants. They're gonna be getting tied up. I've been needing to do it and I'm really gonna get to it this weekend. I'll be tying them up to these hoops. So some of them are gonna be kind of leaning a little bit, but it's gonna work for what I need it to. The rest of the way down is some tomato plants. There's a few basil and peppers and a few marigolds. Something's already gotten on several of my marigolds, so I'm just kind of leaving it and hoping that they'll attack the marigolds as a sacrifice plant instead of all the tomatoes. I'm going to be tying up all of these. I probably have way too many throughout here, but it's our first year, we're learning, and I'm excited to see what we end up getting off of these. A lot of the tomatoes are a cherry style or beefsteak variety. I'll be doing the exact same thing with this row of tomatoes. The only difference is they'll be going straight up to a bar that runs the whole length of the hoop house, so they won't have to stretch and like be combined to one hoop. They'll have a little bit more room. And when I get done doing that, I'll come through all the tomato plants and trim off the bottom, especially of the ones that are bushier, so that there's more room for them to have air. Along this back side, we're going to put some raised beds, and that's going to be like carrots and lettuces that we put there. Welcome to our deck. This is where I do my container gardening. So I'm going to show you around so you can see what it's like. We started off with 2 raised beds we just picked up from Tractor Supply. The kids helped me put them together. It's also one of them videos that I was like, oh, look how little the kids were just a couple years ago, which is really neat to see. I also have my green stalk up here. It's in 2 sections at the time being because we were afraid of it being too tall and one of the littles accidentally bumping it and knocking it over. So I have it broke up into 2 sections. These are some old seed. Hi, honey. Are you helping? Ta-da! I do have some purple basil and they're trying to grow that. Hopefully he doesn't squish it out. Thanks, honey. In these raised beds, I have carrots. There's a little bit of Swiss chard, and it did stick in a few marigolds throughout here. I did have some peas in the spring, which was fun because they were able to go around on the spindles of the porch railing, and but they dried up, so I took them out. And then I have a kale that's not looking so well. The bugs have been getting to it. This is some yarrow, different basils, nasturtiums, marigolds. I had another basil there, but that's where they play, so don't worry about that. And a sage on the corner. Then this box has a tomato transplant that I put, some kohlrabi, and some sweet Annie. Look at these beautiful flowers. We are loving them. And some blueberry starts. I'm looking forward to putting them down where the sunflowers are when they finish. This is an heirloom tomato. I am excited to have that on the deck. That's my best looking tomato. It actually has tomatoes on it, so I'm really excited for that. And then this is our first bed. It has full of strawberries. That's a little container of basil. And then right through here is some eucalyptus and some lettuce mixes. This side gets very dry. I need to get some mulch because this other side has mulch, and the lemon thyme, chocolate mint, and borage, they all do way better on that side because that mulch is helping keep the moisture in. Right here is my green stalk. It's, as you've seen, I have it in 3 sections instead of the 5, and it's got different herbs, basils, lettuces, and then this one has some cucumbers, borage, and different basils as well. And I believe that is hyssop, but I'm not 100% certain. Alright guys, well that is the end of our garden tour. I'd love to hear how you're growing. Are you in ground? Are you containers? Hoop houses? Just in your front flower bed? I did the front flower bed thing and around our house when we rented, and so I was able to get a lot of stuff off of it. It gave me practice before we got out here to work on all of this. This is a lot of work, but I really do enjoy it, and just trying to get the time to be out here and to keep working on projects. It gives us something to do, and we have a nice shade here in the late afternoon, evening, and it's really enjoyable to come out and just piddle around in the garden, especially now that Bo helped me get the massive weeds done. So now it's just trying to keep up with it for the rest of the summer. I look forward to sharing with you soon. I'll be talking about our fall garden and what my plans are for that. From the weeds and the lack of rain, May into June, those 3 weeks that we didn't really have any rain at all, some of my stuff is just really far behind and or did not do well. So I have to have a fall garden. I have to get my beans in, and I have to get carrots and beets and some other things that I didn't get done, and so that we have enough to preserve for the winter. This is a lot of space that I have open to work with. It's a blank canvas. We're just gonna keep moving on and try some new things. If you're wanting to try some of our salves, I do have some calendula I'm getting ready to make from last year. I have a little bit left, and I'll be harvesting some more soon to make fresh herbal salts that have the the calendula in them and some more salves. So I'll put a link in the description so you can go check that out. I also have a lot of gardening books and books for kids and tools and different things like that that the kids can do. Butterfly houses. You can make your own seed bombs. I have that coming up on the website soon as well. And I have a downloadable resource on butterflies for the family and a bee one that'll be coming out on the 15th of this month. So just real quick, I'll be finishing up the last touches of that and getting it up for you to view. Be sure to check out the website. There's lots of goodies on there. And I hope that this encourages you. No matter what stage you're in and where you live, you can grow something beautiful, and I'm rooting for you. Until next time, friends. Bye now.